Serious, for atheists. Why don't you believe in God? Our views about everything are quite different from 100 years ago. Our knowledge of mental health to the aspects of life. Now imagine just 2,000 years ago. Someone making up a book claiming it was from a being that made everything isn't hard to sell. Just seeing God as man-made is infinitely more plausible when there's also trillions of planets left to explore. Also the part where you have to worship him and if you don't you'll burn for eternity is pretty childish emo. Like a no girls allowed type of thing. When a scientist comes up with a hypothesis, he doesn't just come out straight away and say hey guys I just found proof of X. And quat. He gets to work on doing experiments, research and everything he needs to do to justify his claim. Only then does he come out and announce what he has discovered, along with his evidence and a clear demonstration of his theory in practice. However, for some reason, when a religious person makes a claim that there is an invisible man in the sky who watches us and judges us, everyone just believes him blindly without demanding any sort of evidence. Oh wait, there is evidence. A book written thousands of years ago that was translated and changed hundreds of times. BC it's 2023 where peer review is everything. We have some extraordinary theories that have been proven with logic, experiments and literally put men on the moon. Cured diseases. Fly people to the UK straight to San Francisco. All this is BC of science and math and physics. People can't just make a claim and say it's true without any evidence. I understand people who use religion to help them get over death but that's it. The Bible is a book of stories. That is it. Like how there are people still trying to control others with a book of stories. Why does it seem like everyone is having sex-related questions on this page? Hopefully this gets read. Those questions are really annoying and just these little shits and trolls need to tone it down. Ike man. Makes me wonder how people reproduced for thousands of years before Reddit. Puritanical bullshit mostly. As a society. In the US at least. Talking openly about sex is generally frowned upon. You're on a big rock. Covered in horny people living amidst. Or in the wake of centuries of puritanical sexual repression. So why the fuck do you think? Loaded dudes get off on posting fake sex questions. And sex questions get clicks. All other questions about life have been asked and answered. Sex is the only thing they don't get. There aren't many people who are too afraid to ask fast food questions. Because you can be anon and it's hard to ask sex questions in person for some. It's nice to get different points of view. Kinda smart honestly. Because you are probably afraid of asking questions about sex in real life. It is quite normal. This is a good question and discussion topic and look at the upvotes/comments. Sex sells and quat. Which is unfortunate because it does get old as fuck fast as fuck. It's an embarrassing thing a lot of people have questions about and they might be afraid to ask them. And well, most people do have sexual feelings. So that combo makes it super common to have a question you are too afraid to ask. Attention. To perv on the replies. To avoid humiliating themselves by asking people Earl. I think most are afraid to ask Earl. I personally don't have anyone I can ask in real life. Everyone around me is super conservative and religious so it is a taboo subject. Even if I did have someone, I'd be too embarrassed. If I ever have a sex-related question I'm posting here too. Why don't you go to therapy? I've already worked through my shit. I could have benefited from it a decade ago before I was less self-aware. Therapists are to mental health what doctors are to physical health. I don't go to the doctor because I'm healthy physically. I don't go to therapy because I'm healthy mentally. Somewhat ironically, I think people who think everyone needs therapy are the ones who themselves need it the most. It's not mentally healthy to assume the worst in others and project your own issues onto them. If I got sick and needed a doctor it doesn't mean that now suddenly everyone does. I guess my brain already knows how it will turn out so I don't. Good talks. Not doing the necessary homework given because most tasks already feel overwhelming. So nothing changes except for having less money and less free time as I need to compensate the therapist time that was during work time. Which means more stress. Also there's so many options. Which therapy? I can't decide. Hello overthinking. And as soon as I'd have to talk about things I'd play it down so it sounds like everything is fine. And isn't there enough other things I should be doing already? It's worrying how easy it is for any idiot to become one. Someone I know has very biased views, said that women aren't born crazy. Crazy men turn women crazy, and gets a lot of info from TikTok. Is on her way to becoming one. Also the whole system regarding it is fucked/useless. I booked a consultation when I thought I might be depressed and they just asked me the same questions as the ones on the questionnaire from the website. Then asked if I want antidepressants. But they had absolutely no idea what was wrong with me because the questions they asked are just shit. Rate how you feel from 1 to 4. So I'm just gonna figure this out on my own. What helped you learn a language from scratch to fluency in adulthood? Living in that culture as much as possible helped because it forced me to get over any embarrassment I had in speaking the new language. As a former EFL teacher, I had several adult students who could have passed for native speakers who attributed their language skills to watching a lot of TV in the target language. It certainly worked well for them in conversation settings. I don't have an answer but I do have a related question. My friend told me about some book they read to learn Spanish that's basically a fictional story but includes translations to English within the text. He said it's a lot more engaging than something like Duolingo for instance, and I don't really like dueling. The name of the book starts with a P maybe? If anyone knows what I'm talking about please LMK. Doing a little something every day that was slightly too hard for my level. So when I was beginning in German, I watched the news even though I could only say Guten Tag. Once I hit B1, I started reading books in German. Most importantly, and a lot of people are against this, I made my German-speaking friends have conversations in German around me when we were out instead of them speaking English just for me. I would respond in English at the beginning but after a while in German. Having enough in and output. School is a big help since you learn to talk and write and get feedback from teachers and students, though not everyone has this advantage. One thing I did that helped me is finding a study buddy who is fluent or better native in the language you're learning. Another thing is to visit the country, if possible. Also try to watch movies in this language and read in the language, but most importantly use school cheats from that language. First 8th grade are good ones. Fluent in Germany, English, French _Danish, so it works haha.